So great big hello, everybody. I'm delighted to be back with another Thrive Factor Live. And this time I've got the beautiful Kerryn Slater to chat with us. And we're going to have a bit of a conversation about Kerryn's archetypes, which has been a theme, funnily enough, because we're talking about Thrive Factor archetypes. And I've asked Kerryn to share with everyone around what knowing her archetypes has done for her in terms of her confidence, her resilience, her focus, her action, all these things for life and business. I know you've had so many aha moments and so many lots of really cool things. And then we'll talk more about some of the other actions you've taken in response to the, I love this work, which I'm so grateful you do. And this is what I want to do with it and how I want to bring it into my own work. So before we dive into that, Kerryn, though, and I want you to do an intro for yourself, not just at all. I'd like you to do an intro. And so anyone who's listening to us at any point in time, whether it's through this live that we're doing into the Magnetic Business Growth Group or in a recording in some capacity somewhere else, they know who you are, who's talking. So
Thank you. Well, hi, my name is Kerryn Slater. Thank you, Shannon, for having me. I do feel like a bit of a Shannon groupie this year, which is just beautiful and I'm loving it. Since learning about my archetypes, actually, I now lovingly refer to myself as the inspired spiritual alchemist. I love to work with women to assist them in transforming their lives through self-love, self-acceptance, meditation, coaching, healing. I'm also a healer. So, which I'm now understanding that is, partly my mentor teacher and my shapeshifter alchemist. I really do, however, love to work with women to help them to identify their own key strengths and who are they at a core level, because we really take on so many labels and identities, and as we go through our lives and as we mature and as we age, or, even as a teenager and an early adult, we really don't know who we are because everyone else is telling us who we should be, or we have responsibilities and expectations that are placed upon us that again determine who we should be. And am I completing my role that has been assigned to me by, the family members and the loved ones and the employers and the employees of who I should be? And I just think that we lose the essence of who we are.
Yes. It's the whole who am I is one of the universal questions, no matter our age, our gender, our cultural background, where we are in the world, the study we've done or not done, our socioeconomic climate, all the different things. That doesn't impact, it may impact the learning journey we go on, but it doesn't impact the fact that we all have this question of who am I and who am I going to be and who should I be and who am I told to be, and like so many different things. So I love that, this is such a core part of your work because it does align so beautifully with everything that Thrive Factor stands for. So darling, you've got 4 archetypes. I was going to hold up the 5. You've got 4 archetypes. So tell us a little bit about each of them. I don't mind where you start, whether you want to talk about, you love all, you've come to love all of them.
I do love all of them, yes. My mentor teacher, and do you know what's so interesting, and this is what I love at the moment, is because they are aspects of your personality and it's almost like you can tune into them. So right then,
100%.
I had mentor teacher and advocate rescuer both knocking at my door to say, pick me.
Vying for attention.
Yes. Yeah. So the mentor teacher I really so resonated with, because the earliest memories that I have in childhood are literally I'm the eldest of 5 children, and my mum and dad got one of those, the old school desks.
Yes.
They were wooden, they had the steel legs, and it was the bench seat and the lift up.
Yeah.
My parents had one of those and it was out in our backyard. And I remember always getting my brothers and sisters to sit down at that. I had a ruler. I was always standing out the front. I was always being the teacher.
You just had a bigger class than I did. I had a brother until the second brother came along.
Yes.
Up as the other students.
Yes. So teaching was something that in my early years, I'm sure everyone thought I was going to become a teacher. However, that's not the pathway that my life took me on. But what I did find that was in any of the roles that I had in my workplaces, I always took on some form of a training or a supervisory role or a management role or a leadership role. And so that felt very natural to me. I didn't love learning when I was in school, but I loved learning about things that interested me. So, I always had my head in books. I was always reading. I was always learning on different levels, learning about life. And I do find that I've really taken to the whole aspect of learning through the mentor teacher more so in the last 6 years, or even more so in since really creating my business. And it's just like this love for learning, it's insatiable. It's like, give me more,
totally.
give me
So say
more.
it's that thirst for learning is the way I
Yes,
talk about it, isn't it? With the
it
mentor
is.
teacher,
Yes.
and it's like it's not a thirst that can't be quenched, but it's a thirst that seems to just be there, ready for more. And then have a moment of being
exciting.
satiated, and then we're like, oh no, I want a bit more.
Yeah. What I am mindful of, and this is something that I have learnt through doing the Thrive Factor work with you, is recognizing my mentor teachers need to have certifications for the sake of having certifications. And I can see where early on, especially through the meditation, I mean, I think it is important to be certified in areas like that. But there was an underlying need to feel that I had to have that piece of paper to have that validation of my worth. And this is where I love the inner wisdom of the mentor teacher, is recognizing that, there is an innate wisdom that I've had, that I can see, that has flowed throughout my whole life, and knowingness of just knowing things, and I am very highly intuitive as well, but I can see where her influence in that has really played out in so many areas of my life. And so I think that really giving her the validation of recognizing that she is a wise woman, and there is a wisdom that she has that goes beyond what you can learn in books, that goes beyond what you can learn. It's life experience, isn't it?
Yeah,
and
totally.
I just think, and we don't value it as much as what we should.
No, mentor teachers terribly, so commonly don't value that. And this is exactly what you were talking about, Kerryn, and coming to really own the wisdom and to see the value in the lived experience. This is what I wish for every mentor teacher, to get to that point that they don't question their knowing. They're like, no, I know stuff, and that is of value personally and definitely professionally and in business. So I love that. That's your mentor teacher.
Yeah.
So I'm going to move on to ask you to talk about another archetype.
Advocate rescuer.
You've got 4. So advocate rescuer, seeing as though she was the next one in line going, oh, talk about me.
Yes.
Advocate rescuer.
She was really interesting, actually, when I found out, when I had my profiling session with you, that the advocate rescuer, I loved and disliked her at the same time. So I really resonated with her because I have, for as long as I can remember, had this burning desire and need to help others.
Yes.
To help people who, I always, do you know what? My mum and dad always said to, when I was younger, I always brought home, the stray animals. They always followed me home.
Yes.
There was always a dog that followed me home. There was always a cat that followed me home. Whenever the birds would hit the windows and be stunned, I'd be out there and I'd be holding them. And I will say too, I always felt there was a power within me, or a knowingness that I could heal this bird if I just held it, and I could, I could heal that. And also and I often say that if I had had the freedom to have been an activist when I was younger, I would have, because I really felt this, to get out there and march the streets and, stand up for people who didn't have a voice. Have a voice to speak up for themselves, or always really rooting for the underdog, really wanting to. However, with the advocate rescuer, I have fallen into the trap over the years of feeling that I've needed to save people when they didn't really need to be saved. Yes, always trying to save people. And she has been the greatest teacher for me, actually, in the work that I do and being a healer and the way that my business has grown and evolved is letting go of that belief that it is my job to save people.
Yeah.
It's not my job to save people. It's my job to save myself. And I guess, understanding and recognizing that it's more about providing the space to empower people to create change in their lives when they are ready to do so and they've asked for it.
Yes, it's a very different way to approach, particularly in the work that you've done for such a long time now, one-on-one and in groups with clients, and mostly women, I know. But when you are an advocate rescuer, you have this natural instinct to just to want to rush in and help, whether people have asked for it or not, whether they actually truly need it or not. It's just the way that you're built. And I call the advocate rescuer, as Kerryn, I refer to her as this is the archetype of compassion. It's the Kuan Yin energy. It's the Mother Teresa energy. So it's like that large scale, but I want to heal the world. I want to help everybody. And yet that rescuing is the thing that actually is the challenge and the problem, because you may be trying to do that for someone who doesn't want it, need it, or whatever the dynamic is. And yes,
or hasn't asked for it.
It's a distraction of you actually being able to support yourself.
And that's so important, actually, because there is that seeking for that validation, seeking for that recognition, seeking for that love externally outside of herself. And that's been one of my greatest learnings and lessons, and part of my healing journey is to actually advocate for myself, take care of my own needs, nurture myself, self-love, self-acceptance, self-appreciation. And I really feel that's the beautiful journey that I've had with the advocate rescuer, and so much that she has taught me for me to be where I am today. And so I am very grateful to that element and that aspect of myself with her. Yeah.
I love that you have such a good relationship with your advocate rescuer. And as you and I have talked about many times over now, that this is an archetype that when women have this, they can often have a real battle about having this archetype. And even as you mentioned, there was a bit of like a love-hate relationship when you first got to know her, because you could see all those sides of it. But you've come to be such a beautiful poster woman for, you can have a good, positive, healthy relationship with yourself as an advocate rescuer and use the gifts that she has, the strength she has, in the best possible way. So you and Kim also, as Kim is one of the Thrive Factor profiler grads, same, which is such a joy for me to see positive relationships with advocate rescuers out there in the world. Which is good. Awesome. So who's waiting for attention next?
Inspire a Believer.
The Inspire
is one of my favorites. I mean, I do love them all. But Inspire a Believer. I just, and again, she just sees the good in everyone, sees the potential in everyone, sees the gifts, the unique gifts and talents in everyone, and has this beautiful belief. And, this is kind of aligned with the advocate rescuer as well. I do have the belief, and I live my life by the belief, that humanity is a beautiful concept. Everyone has the potential for goodness, and there is a light within everyone. There have been some lessons in that as well. And I guess part of that ties in with the advocate rescuer too. So I can see where they're interlinked and interlaced. It's great for me to see the good and the potential in other people, and I can hold up a mirror as a reflection for other people to see that within themselves. What they then choose to do with that is up to them. So I often feel like I'm here with a mirror, reflecting to everyone that I meet. This is what's within you. This is what's inside of you. This is what's possible for you. And should you choose to answer the call or have that self-belief that you are, you have that ability, or again, that worthiness to believe in yourself. So I guess that's what we do, isn't it? We just really champion for people to believe in themselves.
The ultimate cheerleader. For sure. So, but what about some of the challenges that have come with your Inspire a Believer?
Well, energy for me has been one of, really taking care of my energy, making sure that I'm listening to my body's needs, And really that comes through believing in myself and inspiring myself. So the inspire believer, if she's inspired, however, this is the all or nothing. So I really have to be mindful and find that healthy balance through being grounded and self-care, because I can be like, yay, I'm so excited, and really burn myself out. And then when you're not in that good space, it's quite, the energetic load can be quite low.
Yes,
So it's about
significantly low.
finding that really nice, happy medium. And that all comes through with self-care and utilizing the strengths of the other archetypes as well to support my inspire believer, to make sure that she's always not always in a good spot, but we do have the belief, I do believe, that we always have to be positive.
Yes.
We have to be sending out positivity. We have to be giving positivity. We have to be positive. And then what can happen is if we're faced with something that is a challenge, whether it's health or in your personal life or in your business life, if you're struggling to find the positive in that or to maintain that momentum, then you can really fall into that self-judgment. Well, so it's really about being able to know the strengths of your other archetypes, so you can really draw on them to support you.
Beautiful. So much so, because that inspired believer, she's so full of energy, but she can also be so lacking in energy, exactly as you said, Kerryn. And it's so interesting seeing that play out. And it's anyone who's been watching anything of what I've been sharing, or any of the chats that I've been having with women like Kerryn, that you've probably heard us talk about the inspired believer before now, because it's a common archetype, and one that can feel very overwhelming. Well, as much as she's exciting, she can also feel like she's the zapper of all the goodness out of you, because it's as you said, that the belief of, I've got to be happy, I've got to be positive, I've got to put this fabulous spin on things, and people are expecting me to be the cheerleader, and they're like, oh, it's exhausting, I just need to go and have a nap. And all the rest of it, and all the rest. So is it time for some magic?
Shapeshifter alchemist. Yes.
You love it.
Yes. I do. I totally do, because I have for as long, and it's funny how once you get to know your archetypes, you can see their influences from childhood. And one of the first books that I read was, I think, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, and that just played into not played into, but it aligned with the magical experiences that I had already had as a child, with the energy of life and nature and everything else. And so I can see where my influence in the books that I read throughout my whole life was always an element of magic and fantasy and mythical creatures and
shifting and changing. And
exactly.
Worlds and
absolutely. So that I can see where that element of my shapeshifter alchemist has actually influenced my life greatly. I've always been very adaptable. So I've always been able to shift and change, I guess. Not who I am, I feel, at the core of my being. However, I've found it very easy to interact with many different layers and levels of people, no matter where they've come from.
Makes sense.
I can speak to their language. I can fit in with who they are. And adapt and be very flexible, move from one role to another role, to this role, to that role, and go with the flow. I feel that my shapeshifter alchemist helps me to go with the flow a lot more as well. Okay, well, this situation is changing. All right, let's just move with how that's changing. How can I adapt and fit with this? Yes. However, I have struggled with identity in my life, because there are so many facets that I can fit into. So, there's that feeling of the core essence of who you are, but then there's also the questioning of who am I? And then being able to fit into so many different areas. And early in business, I did find that, because I do have so many modalities that I have, which I love them all. But there is a core essence beneath each one of those. And that is, well-being. That is, really helping people to come to an understanding of who they are. And, it's all of those tie in together. So I feel like with my shapeshifter alchemist, that right now I feel very good and aligned to the identity of who I am. But that in itself has been a journey as well.
Yeah. And it is for every shapeshifter alchemist. I mean, it is to a point for every one of us, no matter the combination of archetypes. But the shapeshifter, it's amplified because of the chameleon nature and the variety and the fluidity and the shape-shifting aspect of it. And I've really had great joy in witnessing and supporting you in different ways, but definitely sitting back and witnessing and watching you step into that. As you said, it's like that common thread of a message and what you stand for, so that no matter what it is that you're doing, the how work, the different modalities, the different ways that you work with people, it all comes back to that core message, which is, again, something that I hold the space for every shapeshifter alchemist to get to that point. Because when you do, and there's that clarity and that confidence and that focus, that's when the alchemist kicks in the best possible way. So,
and she is an amazing manifester when she puts her mind to it. Yes. Yeah, create cool. Amazing things.
Love it.
Yes.
So I think that's a really good introduction for everyone around your archetypes and how you've got to know them and how you're using them. So you have been studying with me this year in Thrive Factor School and doing the certification Thrive Factor Profiling, which has been an absolute joy and honor to be your mentor and your teacher in that, and to see how much you've embraced my work and just want to take it and, you know, make it its own entity in your line with your messaging in the world. So tell us a little bit about why Thrive Factor School and why doing the certification was, you know, I know for you it was almost like a non-negotiable. It was going to happen.
It
tell us a little bit about that. If there's anyone listening that's intrigued about, well, why was it such an easy investment, time, money, and everything else for you to make, Kerryn, and its benefit for your business and your life?
Well, I guess that started last year. You know, we were working together, you know, we were all working together as facilitators getting ready for the Ultimate Girls Week Away retreat. And so I had my profiling session with you. And, you know, I have been exposed to and experienced a little bit of the archetypes through Carl Jung and Caroline Meese's work. But your framework really just spoke to me in such a way that made it clear and spoke to all aspects of who I was. I could relate, you know, but not only that, it was more even the way that you broke it down to the strengths and challenges, but you gave me ways in which I can use this in a practical way in every area of my life, and how I could actually work in my creativity, work with my clients, work in promoting my business, work in my business. So all of that really was opened up to me just through the initial profiling session. I was like, this makes sense to me. It's easy to understand. I can actually, this is practical information that I can use in my personal and business life.
Useful.
And then I met you in person in Fiji, and I just really connected so well with your energy. And I was just like, oh, this just all makes sense to me, you know. And the more I got to know you as well, and even just heard you, the way you spoke about the archetypes and the way that you could actually see and understand where everyone was coming from. And, you know, as an intuitive, to even have a different framework, again, a deeper framework through which I can understand myself and those that I work with really appealed to me. And even since doing this work with you this year, in all of my one-on-one clients, you know, I'm hearing and sensing and seeing the archetypes, personalities coming through. And that, you know, and obviously they need to have a profiling session to know exactly which ones are theirs, but you get elements of them.
So much.
And to be able to actually help, again, my advocate rescuer, to help people on a deeper level, for them to understand themselves and why they do the things that they do, or why they feel the way that they feel, or how they can actually take these elements of who they are and put them into practical uses in their day-to-day life or in their business lives. To me, it just was a no-brainer.
That's so good.
I didn't have to. I have to say it was one of the decisions that I made that I did not to and fro about. It just felt
It's
like
good
a
for a
natural.
shapeshifter.
Yes, I know, right? Because normally I will go, should I, shouldn't I, should I, shouldn't I? And there's like this inner conflict that I will have in making a decision about whether or not this is the next move for me. And I'm so glad that I did it. And I'm so happy for even how I can feel the energy of how this is going to flow into my business and the way that I work with people and what I will have to offer people in 2021.
I know.
And
So exciting.
it's just really brought a deeper level of confidence into myself about who I am and what I'm capable
Yay.
of doing, and being able to work with the energies of the archetypes and knowing, and even having the conversations. You know, I will actually sit down and do a journaling process because I can feel the energy is not balanced within me, and it's like, okay, who needs to be heard right
Yeah,
now?
exactly. Who's
Who
feeling
needs
left out?
support? Who's on overdrive right now, and why are you on overdrive, and what are you actually needing? So for me, everything is about self-awareness,
Mm,
and this just gives you such a greater tool to be able to access that deeper knowing, that deeper insight of
so
who
good.
you are and what drives you, and how you can actually utilize that to improve your own life and the lives of the people that you're wanting to work with. So I'm
100%.
just so grateful I made the choice. So thank you.
Me too. And my visionary creator is very excited on a whole nother scale because it's listening to feedback from yourself and from the other women that have done Thrive Factor School, you know, women that are in Thrive Factor Inner Circle, my membership, you know, this constant feedback that I get about the difference it's making in women's lives. I don't take this lightly at all. And I know you know that. In fact, I think
Yeah.
anyone that knows me knows that my vision for this is huge. But it's been such a joy having you, and I can't wait to see you graduate from Thrive Factor School later this year, which is here we are in 2020. But I would love to you just to talk a very little bit, just a high level introduction to what you're birthing for 2021, and how you have used your archetypes to positively influence this direction in that your business is going into, because that's such another key learning and experience, and the value for us when we know our archetypes is, again, how do we use them in our work to positively influence the way we work moving forward and to provide even greater value to our clients.
Absolutely. And, you know, developing a program has been something that has been in my consciousness for quite some time now. And I just didn't know how I was going to make that happen. And through doing the Thrive Factor School this year, it really has opened up for me the possibility of how I can put that into place and bring something to life that will support women who are of similar archetypes. And so it's a program that I am creating. My journey has been about self-love, self-discovery, self-acceptance. And the influences of those, of course, are the advocate rescuer and the inspired believer and the shapeshifter alchemist.
Yes.
And so it's really a journey about getting to understand yourself on a deeper level and providing you with tools and ways in which you can have that self-inquiry, to connect, to uncover who you are, to know what your strengths are, to understand the reasons why we might have the challenges that we do, or why we self-sabotage, and what's causing that, what underlying beliefs are actually creating that and preventing you from moving forward in your life or achieving what it is that you're setting out to achieve. And for me, it's all about the subconscious mind, the limiting beliefs, what can we bring forth for you and give you the tools so that you can actually peel back the layers and see the light within you and embody and embrace and nurture that so that you can move forward in a positive way.
So good. Having had a really in-depth look at Kerryn's program, again, a huge inspired believer here going, it's so amazing. So if you know, she's active in my group, you know, the Thrive, was it Magnetic Business Growth, and you will see her in the future listed on the Thrive Factor website. So if you have any issues with getting in contact with Kerryn and finding out more, just hit me up with a message. We'll connect you into so that you can join Awaken, which is so cool.
Yes.
I'm thinking about the name.
Thank you.
So fabulous. So any last piece of wisdom from your mentor teacher? We started with her, we'll go full circle. Little piece of wisdom for anyone out there, no matter where they're at on their journey of getting to know themselves and whether or not they do or don't consider Thrive Factor as part of that.
I will say that my mentor teacher has actually loved the way that you have structured the program. The way that it's set up, the system that you use, the level of insight and information that is available. And I will speak from my mentor teacher because she's the one that will go, oh, I don't know enough. I can't possibly do this. However, the way that you have actually structured the program, the beautiful information that you provide, make it such an accessible and easy process. Now, that's not to say it's easy, but it flows so beautifully, and the support that you provide is amazing. And your depth of knowledge and understanding of the archetypes is just, I'm just like, can I just have some more Shannon brain?
You're getting
Give
it.
me a little bit more Shannon. But,
but
what I want to say is, it's been, for me, it has been such a great value for money in my choice to invest. And I am definitely reaping the rewards of that investment, not only in my business, but in my personal life as well. And I know that I'm just scratching the surface of what will be potentially available for me to create next year. And, this program is just the first step. And I've not once questioned myself in having made this choice. So from my mentor teacher's perspective, this has absolutely met all of her criteria in what I'm learning, in what I'm able to share and pass on, and in value for money as well. So yeah,
thank you so much for that beautiful,
perfectly aligned for where I am in my life right now.
Unsolicited feedback. So thank you so much, Kerryn.
Totally unsolicited.
Yes. So if you are listening in and you would like to know more about anything to do with the Thrive Factor, if you head to thethrivefactor.com, that is the one-stop shop for everything, and follow the Thrive Factor on Facebook, easy to find. And if you'd like to know more about the certification program and the next intake for that, then please, one of the easiest ways to get that information is probably to email through to myself and my team, hello@thethrivefactor.com, and we can send you the current prospectus and all the updated training dates and all those sorts of things, no matter when you're listening to this and when you are showing some interest to go and to take yourself and your business to the next level. So Kerryn, thank you so much for joining me and sharing a little bit about your story and your Thrive Factor and embodying all of that. As I said before, I can't wait to see where this takes you in terms of its complement to who you are already and what you already do. And again, watching you step into the next level of confidence and, knowing for yourself has been such a joy this year. And I just know that this is just the start of the next level and beyond for you. Yes, very cool. So thank you so much, anyone listening in. Thank you so much. If you have any questions at any point in time, please, no matter where you're watching this from, hello@thethrivefactor.com is probably the easiest way to get in contact with myself and my team, and we can be happy to share with you. So thank you again, and thank you everyone for tuning in.